Hi, everybody. This is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto under 20 total, never net carbs for the day. How are you doing? Well, here we are. 'Tis the season of the pushers. Let me ask you, have you ever heard this? One bite won't kill you. How you're no fun anymore. I thought you used to love this. I made this just for you. It's not going to hurt you. You're totally skinny. You're rocking it. Why can't you just have that? And so much more. It's sometimes exhausting facing the food pushers this time of year, and you almost long to just go home and suck your thumb alone, thank you very much, or eat, in your comfy stuff at home, and not be bothered with having to defend stuff. Why is it? I mean, don't you sometimes feel like, why are they? I wouldn't I wouldn't go after these people like that. I might be thinking when parents are feeding their children the standard American diet fare, and they're already showing signs of not faring well, so to speak, with their weight and future metabolic issues. But I don't say anything out loud when, you know, and so when the people pushers swarm on you about, why you're this and you're that, and, sometimes I don't feel as jolly. I have a girlfriend that always says, fat people are jolly. They're much more jolly. And you know what? They are. And it's so funny when I see, listen, watch, whatever, somebody that is not paying attention to what they're having to eat. They are jolly and carefree. They're having fun. They're living life. They're smiling. Do they ever have any of those dark come to Jesus type moments where it's like, I got to get this under grips. This is starting to be scary. I've had to up my sizes, and the things that I've bought are getting kind of expensive because I have to replace them. I'm always wondering if that's why pocketbooks and shoes are such big sellers, and makeup with women, because those things might not change as drastically, although my shoe size did change. But those sort of things don't change if you've gained 100 or lost 100, right? You can you can still get away with it. And yesterday I was at AA, and I was looking at this lovely woman, and she wears sports fair paraphernalia, and I know that she has a professional job, so she probably has to dress, like a grown up when she's at work. But at my meeting, it's always usually Patriots Red Sox stuff, and the the tops are always getting a little bit bigger and bulkier, and this is just me. But I looked down at her pocketbook, and she has a Dooney and Bourke Patriots pocketbook and wallet, and I just kind of laughed because who amongst us in our gaining phases before we started taking care of our health and our weight and paying attention to food didn't like do things like that because we had the disposable dollars like older women have often, at least the statistics say that. And so we could afford our little journeys into having something themey like that. It was just kind of funny, just noticing. And as most of you know, it was one beautiful, very wealthy woman's midriff that got me to go to Weight Watchers 6 years ago. And when I'd had enough of enough, and I couldn't wear my white starchy shirt, which was part of my standard summer uniform professionally, with not really a uniform, just my own, what works. So I would wear a starchy shirt with a nice, great big, thick belt, and my khaki pants. And I would feel crisp and professional and everything else. And so with the midriff, the belt had to go because you can't put a belt around the menopause that's extending out further than your boobs. And that's how it was for me. And she scared me into Weight Watchers. It's funny what gets our attention, and this was on her, and me feeling like that. So I'm very glad to be keto. I'm very glad to, I try not to pay attention to what I weigh. It has changed. I've gained a few pounds over the last 6 months. My clothes still fit the same, but I do believe it's just the transformation of the composition. That's how I've heard people phrase that. And it, kind of does make a difference. And I guess the body kind of starts building muscle when it like finally realizes that, oh, you might be here forever. And so this is how we roll. You're not having the carbs and sugars anymore, are you? So the people pushers will be out there, and it just seems so innocent, and it's not innocent. And so I don't really step back and take the time to educate these people about what food addiction is about when they make what seems like just social banter of like, oh, it's really good, you should try this. And it's like, no, I can't. That's my one bite is too much and 1,000 are never enough. And I always say sometimes in my videos, I always say it, but then it's sometimes in my videos when I say it, that nothing ever tops going to bed food abstinent for the day and waking up the next day and knowing you had a full day of being abstinent, whatever your abstinence is. There's nothing else like her. A clean food plan really, really works. And I'm so glad that you're all here listening and that you're all doing it along with me. Whatever your food plan is. I mean, even if you're Weight Watchers and you're watching this, it's the accountability and the consistency that matters in your program. They say the same thing about exercise. It doesn't necessarily matter what it is that you do. It's just that you do it. So, and especially if you're paying that gym membership, it's deducted from your checking account every month, whether you go or not. All right. So, this is what I have put together for my day of food. Here it comes. Sorry. I should have kind of semi-pulled it up. I'm having a nice dinner. I have one meal a day. It's between 2 and 3 in the afternoon. And I do still chart. There's times where I say, I'm not going to track for the week and just see what happens, just for nyet and giggles. But I end up tracking anyway. So this is what I am having today. My calorie count is 1,263. This is just what I have. I'm not telling you to have this, okay? My calories are 1,263. My protein is 59-ish. My carbs are 2.4, and my fats are almost 114 grams. What am I having? This is what I'm having. Funny you should ask. My weight is 122.6. I am having ghee. I have 7 grams of ghee in my 2 to 3 cups of coffee. And I also have 25 grams of heavy whipping cream from Organic Valley that shows 0 carbs in my 2 to 3 cups of coffee. And I chart for the 3 for both of them. On my salad, I have 75 grams of Organic Trader Joe's Radicchio and baby butter, 75 grams of that. And I have on that, today is planned 10 grams of macadamia nut oil and 7 grams of Fourth and House Himalayan pink salt ghee. And I kind of put that on the toaster oven so it kind of melts. And I put that on my 75 grams of lettuces with 20 grams of Good Culture today. Good Culture cottage cheese. And it makes just a nice, to me, elegant type of salad. I am having 4 ounces of a roast chuck that I made that's sitting there just getting tasty. And I'm having 3 ounces of spare ribs that I also cooked over the weekend in coconut oil to brown them and then bake them low and slow along with the chuck roast in the oven. And so that all totals 1,263 calories. And I like that. And I won't be tempted by the food pushers today. 'Tis the season But fortunately, I think that the people at candy manufacturing companies must have sat around that boardroom table and just high-fived each other and ordered their new jets when they came up with bite size, because they actually think that some of us would have one bite-sized treat and be okay. I brought in all my leftover, this is like a month ago. I brought in all my leftover Halloween bite-sized candies to AA. There were 5 bags. Yeah, we won't be doing that again next year. And one woman took 7 bite size and just like shoved them in her pocket. I was just kind of laughing. And I almost said what it was, but I thought that might be triggering, because I know it was triggering to me, because it was one of those that I did like, and I'm usually not a candy person. But I'm not going to be swayed by what people say and think. I don't walk up to people and say, yeah, you look great. Why don't you have, why are you having cream cheese and stuffed in celery? Why don't you have one of those very fattening looking appetizers? It's just like, none ya business, right? But that doesn't stop people. It's just, can't they stop at the compliment instead of like then pushing the food? Like, you can get away with it, right? No, not only I might, it's that whole thing about, okay, so I had bites of things and I got derailed. I just read a comment from one of my usual commenters, and he stepped out of his keto food plan, and he had lost 32 pounds. And how did it go? By the time he came back, it was 18 months later, and he had gained all those 32 pounds back. That's what happens. We can't count on, getting right back on track. And if you've ever read the angst of anybody that has stepped off the scale, stepped away from their tracker, put the kitchen scale away so there's so much dust on it you can't even find it, there's spider webs on it, you can't even find it, and thought that they could, when they come back, it's heartbreaking to me as a food addict, because it's like they had such momentum. Because having your own channel, you'll see that with a lot of people that follow you. And my turtles will just get so much momentum in their daily, when they quit it all, they call it a grind. When it's not a grind, they will treat it as such a wonderful thing, like all the tools, the scale used once a week, the food scale that's used a million times a day for all liquids, all ounces, all silly little things that you used to think weren't anything. For me, coming from the Weight Watcher community, like I said, about 6 years ago, and going down to very, very low veggies, because they have carbs and they do count, and they can be gut irritating, as a lot of us have learned. So cutting down the veggies a lot, it's like, oh, this isn't fair. Because we used to have free veggies and fruits on Weight Watchers, and think of the damage that we did. It's amazing that we even lost with what we were having, right? So, anyway, it is a gift. It is a gift to have my kitchen scale, my bathroom scale, my my tracker, my chronometer. I use the chronometer, and if I coach you, I would suggest you have the chronometer too, because that's how I see what you're having. And we can get in there and work the numbers and the food types too. And so I consider it just so being blessed, and it's such a privilege to have those tools, those simple tools that take nothing. They take nothing to monitor, to put in, to weigh, to measure, all those things, until they do. And I've seen it happen with so many people where they just get so freakadeekin aggravated about having to use the scale, having to use the tracker. Why do I have to do this? And they rebel. And how do they rebel? They step back. I'm not tracking anymore. I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to practice intuitive eating. Okay. I encourage everybody. Do you know why? Because that's how we all learn. We learn from our own experiences, the good ones, the bad ones, and the ugly ones, right? So to not track is oftentimes somebody's first stepping away from, their clean eating. And I know portions. I've been doing this. I could cut, a tablespoon of butter and put it on a plate. And I will tell you, if I weighed and measured it, it would say 15 grams. Good. But still weigh and measure it. That's what I say. But that's just me. I have to be kind of clean, kind of abstinent with what I have. When I do have more than I should, it might be an ounce or so more of meat. When Greg takes those things off the big green egg on Sunday, it's kind of hard to resist all those wonderful flavors and bites. So, that's my problem isn't 1 or 2 more ounces of steak, I will guarantee you. My problem, hopefully, is in remission a day at a time with my diligence and my vigilance that I practice. You don't have to. If it doesn't work for you and it makes you feel like you're in jail, don't do it. Just follow what works for you. That's why we do this daily, because it's a daily, for me, it's a daily reprieve from my food addiction to do what I do with pleasure. Before I eat, I put in my foods in my chronometer, usually when I'm working overnights. And so, I go shopping for the meat. The meat gather hunterer day is Friday for a lot of the meats. And so I do that. So then I know what I'm spreading out over the week. Like this week with that chuck roast, I'm having it a couple of days. It's also going to be the beef in the taco salad instead of ground burger. It's just what you do. So it's kind of planning out what you have. So you use the leftovers and you're not wasting food, because I don't like doing that either. And when I make a chuck roast, you invest. Sometimes it's like $15. And so I'm going to get my $15 out of it at 4 to 6 ounces a clip. Tonight is the spare ribs, the pork spare ribs, and the beef chuck. So I'm going to have a little of each because I like a patty. I like a food patty with my OMAD. So anyway, this has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom in Food with keto, under 20 total carbs, low veggies, good proteins, quality fats, and delight in everything that I put to my lips to eat or drink, because that's how it works for me. And thank you, everybody, for your bone broth experiences. It's really not only helpful to me, but all of the pickles, snowflakes, and turtles that do have their bone broth are thinking about their bone broth. Can I make my own bone broth? And all of that, and how they make it, store it, freeze it, have it. I think it's great. A lot of people have it while fasting. Gut health. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you the next time. If you need that one-on-one, KetoCoachingSarah.com. KetoCoachingSarah.com. Thank you for watching. All are welcome. All people are welcome. There's no little boot camp of pulling your foods together for 30 days that won't help. It's just refreshing. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.